Hi, Coach Alexander here with 20 plus years of experience helping people with the GMAT, seeing how it evolved, looking at how people study, looking at how people learn, looking at what works and what doesn't work, helping large organizations create GMAT programs, evaluating them, and then coming to the conclusion after breaking down the GMAT that there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. So this is what I'm going to talk to you about how to train like a champion. Because you really want to train like a champion, even if you don't want to win the gold, you should train smart. And so what we want to understand about the GMAT is that there are certain expectations, and it's not like your typical test. So I would hate to see, it's disappointing, it's frustrating when people come to me and said, you know, oh, I took a class and spent a lot of money, or I've been studying for a long time and I'm stuck, and okay, that happens. But if you put the right mentality forward right away and understand how to approach your studying, that's good. Now let's use an example of an athletic champion. Okay? Now an athletic champion, for example, let's use a tennis player. A tennis player doesn't play tennis every day. And when you have a new tennis player starting, of course, occasionally they will play a match, but you don't take somebody who's new to the game and throw them into real games without them knowing even how to swing the racket, how to think about certain things, just trying to get the ball across. And there's several reasons for this. One, it could be effective in some ways for certain learnings, but it instills bad behavior, bad thinking, and less than optimal strategic approaches to problems. So what you want to do is you want to really understand that the GMAT training, if you do it well, you will learn a lot of skills that will also stay with you. But most importantly, what you want to focus on is skill improvement, because your score is not what you want to focus on. Figuring out what's going to drive that score is what you want to work on. You can't work on the GMAT. You can work only on your skills. And from that, the result is a good performance, which is the case in sport. Of course they practice, but they practice in very interesting and varied ways. A tennis player doesn't play tennis every day. Think about it. Think about the way that a tennis player would be trained in all aspects. And it could be anybody else. It could be a football player, American or European, etc. So what we're talking about is thinking about what is the best way to learn skills, not to memorize things. And here we come to the three-phase approach, 3 stages. You can find a brief description of this in another area, but these are 3 overlapping stages that you want to start with. Why do you want to start with stages? Well, because if you're going to a school or a program, that what it does is it makes you do problems all week. And then once a week you take a timed exam to see how your score is doing. And if that's how you begin your training, honestly, you're not doing yourself any favors, because you're so focused on outcome that you miss the things, and they really don't grasp or know how to teach you the things that allow you to keep learning on your own and to increase your skills, and as a result, increase your score. As a result, as a consequence. But the skills will stay with you. So let's take a look at the first phase. The first phase is you want to play, and the word is play with concepts. People get so serious. Of course it's important. We understand how important it is your plans are. This is what we love about what we do and why we have a lot of responsibility. But at the same time, people get so serious and they take it like, okay, this is going to be my second job, and they put it, they make it like, okay, I got to work, I got family, I got GMAT. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But try to make it less mechanistic, and at first, don't worry about whether you're getting answers right, whether you're getting answers wrong. There's no shortcuts. Forget about that nonsense. The shortcuts will start coming once you understand the concepts. Concepts or rules are extremely limited. They come from the real world. They weren't made up by the GMAT. Okay? The way prime numbers work. That's a concept. Now, I've studied prime numbers in school. I could give you a definition, so could every one of my students. But when it actually comes time to apply the concept, there's a rupture. Why? Because we may know intellectually what prime numbers are, but we really don't understand in our body how prime numbers work and what the properties. And that's just one example. And it's not difficult. You just need to figure out the properties, and then everything that includes prime numbers is going to have a completely different idea for you. GMAT did not invent logic with evidence and sets of evidence and conclusion and assumption. They did not invent it. That was invented a long time ago. So was our language. In fact, our language and our logic were invented and somewhat similar. A lot of that comes from, for Western languages and many Eastern languages, from even, Plato and Aristotle and that kind of thought. But that's not the point. The point is there are some very easy, common rules that you are not taught. And those rules are one level below the actual GMAT question. For example, how do sentences go together? Not what does a sentence mean, but what I found, because I got a chance, and I love this part because I get to work with a lot of international people, and I get a chance to have lived in different places and been exposed and studied different languages. But the fundamental laws, the structural laws, the way that we teach them, the structural laws of English are the same as the fundamental structural laws of French. They're the same as the for our concern. Please, if you're a linguist, don't send me angry mail and tell me what a jerk I am for making generalizations. I'm telling you what I see and how I teach people from these schools. In German and even in Russian, with some mild changes, the logic of how commas are used, of how phrases go together, or of how you support your opinion or your conclusion with evidence, that's independent of the GMAT. These are things that you really need to know. You need to know them for yourself and for your job and for your future, because what you're paid on, what your value is, are your internal skills and your network and the things that you can do. So that's what you want to do at first. Okay, learn to identify the concept underneath the question and go and explore and play with that concept. Okay, you don't really care about the performance and whether you're getting things right yet. Stage 2 is, now that you've got a little bit of a grip on the concepts, you now start exposing yourself to a broad variety of questions. Why? In order to get the lay of the land. You don't have to try here to perfect every single thing yet. What you want to do is you want to get a broad enough exposure to be able to put things and ideas into your head, because this is how learning works. What you're doing with the GMAT has to do more with an organic learning process, an organic improvement process, as opposed to something that you may be doing at work, where, okay, I need to write a report. If I work for 3 hours, I will write this much. If I work for 5 hours, I will write more. It's going to take me this much. So something else is happening, okay? And here, you want to get a broad overview of ideas and note the ones that you're not familiar with, because it's an opportunity for you to learn. And these things will be useful. Okay? And you want to do interval training. I will talk in another thing about interval training. But what it means is you do 5 questions in 5 minutes. Yeah. You don't care how many you get right or wrong, but then you take 20 minutes or more to review each of the questions in great detail and play with different strategies and different ideas of how it could be solved, because it's a game, it's a case. Each question is like a business case from which you want to pull out some concepts that could be applied to other business cases. All right, stage 3 is the performance training stage. That's where you start doing things more in tune with the shape of your performance. So you start thinking more about timing, you learn more about strategy, you do more time sets with reviews, but you still throw in interval training. And what you're still hoping to do is, besides perfecting and doing a lot of questions and perfecting how you do them, you are still hoping to find that gem that's where you stumble. That question that you just don't understand and can't get right. That is gold. Most people hate those, but in your training, you're trying to unmine as many of those as possible, because each one represents an area where you could learn something. And then you might find out that, oh my God, this looks so complicated, but what they reward you for is simply being able to frame it in another way and approach it from a different perspective. So those are the things that I would recommend to think about, okay? If you want to talk in more depth, you're welcome to contact us. We always love to talk to people, hear about their plans, give them some advice, and see how we can help you achieve your goals.